Karoline Leavitt absolutely nukes Sunny Hostin in her attempt to blame Donald Trump for the recent D.C. plane crash. We're also going to be unpacking how Barack Obama and Joe Biden's policies are directly the cause of this.
Considering doing that in a short time?
The president was asked and answered this question yesterday, and he, as the commander-in-chief of the United States military, reserves the right to review troop deployments overseas at any point in time.
Is that a topic right now?
Yes.
Thank you. Two questions. So we now know that the staffing was not normal at the air traffic tower, and so with the government freezing the hiring of new federal workers and offering buyouts, are you not afraid that more incidents of different kind could happen with less staffing in different agencies?
Well, the president is intent on ensuring that we are increasing staffing at these agencies, and that's why he signed a very strong executive order on his second day in office, immediately terminating DEI hiring practices at the FAA. He also, following the tragic crash, as you all know, in the Oval Office yesterday, signed a memorandum directing an immediate assessment of the FAA to ensure the federal government is maintaining the highest personnel and aviation safety standards. And I would also just say there's a cultural piece to this as well. If you are an American who has spent many years studying aviation and you graduate from school and you're an air traffic controller based on skill and merit, and then you apply for a job and you're forced to fill out a biographical questionnaire asking you the color of your skin and asking you where you're from in details that aren't relevant at all to the job description, I think that deteriorates the morale of people in this industry. And if you talk to people in this industry, they'll tell you that. In fact, many of them filed a lawsuit against the FAA a couple of years ago under Joe Biden's administration because they were denied positions because of this DEI hiring practice that was putting identity politics over merit and skills. That's unacceptable. And I think just to put a fine point on this, because this is the third or fourth question I've answered on this subject, when you are flying on an airplane with your loved ones, which every one of us in this room has, do you pray that your plane lands safely and gets you to your destination, or do you pray that the pilot has a certain skin color? I think we all know the answer to that question, and as President Trump said yesterday, it's common sense. Rob Crilly.
Amen to that. None of us get on a plane and go, oh, I hope that they share the same skin color. All of us get on a plane and go, Lord, I pray that we make it to our destination safe, and I pray that the pilot and we somewhere along the line say something like this, that they okay, they ain't drunk, they ain't sound mind and everything else like that. But definitely, I mean, and Sunny Hostin for The View, first of all, one, to still be airing, but two, to sit here and try to blame Trump and us, the people who voted for him for the plane crash. Wow. And the vote also added, just when you thought The View couldn't get any lower.
Yeah, I'm not going to dignify his remarks about DEI. I'm not going to do that. But to Anna's point, just last week, Trump fired the heads of the Transportation Security Administration and Coast Guard, and he also eliminated all the members of a key aviation security advisory group. The Aviation Security Committee will technically continue to exist, but it won't have any members to carry out the work of examining safety issues at airlines and airports. I think that is very telling, that when, voters decide that they want someone to blow things up and they want someone to blow up infrastructures, this is the result. You cannot blow up infrastructures and take people that have real experience in these types of issues and think that good things will happen because of it. So, I will also say that.
But you think keeping DEI hires is the good that come out of it? Make it make sense.
His transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, said that everything was standard in the lead up to the crash. That is from his own Secretary of Transportation, who replaced Pete Buttigieg.
Maybe standard in terms of how it was operated and things of that nature, but we're going to prove why what you just said was false. Now, before we get into the second half of this, and I want to prove to y'all how Democrats use DEI to discriminate against qualified potential employees. I want to show you this video of President Trump officially ending DEI.
DEI would have ruined our country, and now it's dead. I think DEI is dead, so if they want to scrub the website, that's okay with me. But DEI would have ruined our country, and now it's dead. I think DEI is dead, so if they want to scrub the website, that's okay with me.
Yes. Now, I did see a report. I didn't get a chance to breeze through the article where some particular company is scrubbing DEI policies or some DEI, to some capacity, DEI off of their websites. And what's the reasoning behind it? The Trump effect. Now, I did make another screen for y'all for this. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Okay, here we go. I went back to the same screen. Anyhow, last year, and Ashley St. Clair reported on a tip from a United pilot that a near-fatal incident in Houston was the result of a fired employee being rehired through their DEI program. She says, I was told I was a lying racist. The Houston 767 incident report is out. I was 100% right. Quote, the first officer, now, matter of fact, instead of doing that, we're just going to go straight to the article. Y'all can see it right here. Actually, I'll read it for you. It says, I'm going to read the highlighted part. Was the co-pilot a former flight attendant who was fired and then rehired through the United DEI program despite being on a list to not return? Uh-oh, y'all might trying to hate on us right now. Despite being on a list not to return. Am I correct that this individual failed multiple trainings, including simulator training? Okay. We're going to go to this next article. I'm going to have to make this one bigger, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm going to just read the highlighted portions. The first officer's training records showed inconsistencies in airplane handling as a result as recent as a few months ago. Before the incident, he received an unsatisfactory performance rating. Wow. According to the Czech airman who completed the first officer's second evaluation, the purpose of the recheck was to ensure, due to the first officer's previous struggles, that his proficiency is up to standards. Here we have, since y'all saying like what Donald Trump said, this is a DEI situation. Oh, no, it gets deeper than this. This ain't even the proof, y'all. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and confirm what Donald Trump has already confirmed. Right now, it says FAA turned around qualified air traffic controllers solely based on race. Thanks to DEI, more than 3,000 top-performing, motivated applicants who applied as air traffic controllers to FAA lost out because they weren't the right race. I'm trying to tell y'all. Benny Johnson posted, clean up on our FBI. DEI is dead. Credibility in the Bureau will be restored. Now, this is a post right here of a photograph provided to the New York Times shows a glimpse of some of the changes underway at the FBI, specifically the FBI Academy at Quantico on Wednesday. So yeah, this is him painting over all that fairness, leadership, compassion, diversity, integrity. Yeah, y'all see that right there. And he also got the W right there. It's another W for Trump right there, man. But right now isn't the time for us to be even making jokes. So I apologize because right now we're discussing something very, very serious.
This is a preventable disaster.
We're going to go right into it. This former a former air traffic controller just exposed more about DEI policies that destroyed the FAA and caused critical staging shortages. He also says Obama and Biden struck thousands of well-qualified air traffic control candidates because they were too white. Too white, he says. Quote, this is a preventable, matter of fact, he finna say it right here.
This is a preventable disaster. The system has been under attack due to DEI and the FAA bowing to wokeness, since 2010, since the Obama administration. The lack of staffing is directly attributable to the Obama administration terminating the lists of eligible, well-trained air traffic control statements in 36 universities across the country in 2013 because they were too white.
How do you preach to people about running against discrimination while discriminating?
The FAA also at the same time implemented an immunity program. So you think you're seeing legitimate statistics, you're not. In the old days, before 2010, the immunity program, if an air traffic controller got two airplanes too close, too many times, they would be decertified and retrained. Now, they're not. All they have to do within 48 hours of being noticed or being investigated for a potential separation error, they're called operational errors in the FAA, the controller just simply has to avail themselves of this program that gives them immunity. And when I say immunity, I mean immunity. The FAA cannot retrain.
So we're not even seeing their real stats. Why they want to sit there and
these people.
Sunny Hostin over there talking about there was nothing that went wrong. I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember exactly what she said. But she was pretty much saying that every procedure and everything looked normal during this plane. Before the plane crashed.
Them immunity. And when I say immunity, I mean immunity. The FAA cannot retrain these people. If somebody has a repetitive instance of malfeasance or lack of competency, the FAA, because of this immunity program, cannot rectify the situation. They have to basically allow the person to remain in the same position. It's very, very difficult for the FAA to retrain a controller, and it's attributed to, quite frankly, the union and the FAA working together to basically use this program to gerrymander the statistics of near-midair collisions. You mentioned that. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Wow. We got to read the comments on this. DEI is costing American lives. Yes. Beard Vet says there were guys who aced the test, didn't get hired because they were white. Textbook racism, typical Democrat behavior. Trump is right, Kyle asks, yet again. When are they going to learn? I agree with Nick. At this point, I've lost count. Safety is the number one priority. And not if you're a Democrat, Nick added to that. Now, remember, I told y'all, we're going to show y'all how this could have been, this could have been prevented to some degree. I'm going to prove to y'all how Democrats use DEI we already proved how they use DEI to discriminate against qualified potential employees. Now, 1 year ago, Republicans stood before Congress and stated that there was a shortage of air traffic control operators and that DEI policies and workshops needed to go. They wanted money to go for hiring people to work in air traffic control that had nothing to do with DEI trainings or DEI workshops.
Based on their I rise in support of my amendment. Secretary Buttigieg and President Biden's DEI initiatives, which hire and promote people based on their physical characteristics over their merits and qualifications, violate Title VII and the Constitution. In critical public safety roles such as air traffic control, it is essential to have the best possible candidate based strictly on professional qualifications and merit. Efforts by the Biden administration to factor race, gender, and sexual orientation into hiring and promotion decisions puts the traveling public at risk and deepens the staffing shortages we've seen throughout the FAA. Under this administration, we saw the first national ground stoppage since September 11th. My constituents regularly face delays caused by shortages in air traffic control staffing, delays that I'm sure many of my colleagues have also experienced. We must roll back the Biden administration's woke DEI policies and put the needs of our public aviation system before the far left's political agenda. I urge the adoption.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. Because the DEI agenda has been allowed through the Obama and Biden administration. The American Airlines crew lost their lives that day. Got Captain Jonathan Campos, First Officer Sam Lilly, Flight Attendant Denasia Elder, Flight Attendant Ian Epstein are among the people who lost their lives that day, which is extremely sad, man. It definitely breaks my heart. Right here, you have Karoline Leavitt massively shutting down a reporter who attempts to defame President Trump.
Led to the crisis.
If you could shed any light for us on how the president perceives his use of public profanity, which is a practice that certainly sets him apart from all of his predecessors. Does he regard it as an effective communications device, part of his appeal, or is it something that he lapses into inadvertently, perhaps in times of frustration and later regrets?
I think one of the things that the American people love most about this president is that he often says what they are thinking, but sometimes lack the courage to say themselves. And I think yesterday at this podium, you heard President Trump express great frustration, perhaps even anger, with the previous administration's policies, many of which have led to the crises that our country is currently facing and that this president is focused on fixing.
If you could
Amen to that. And could you believe that previously Joy Behar said that Caroline, she was only hired based on.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Whatever you're saying, this is the first time that she's been she may be. But my point is that job would not maybe have been open to her.
No, I understand. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
But on the issue of, I think
Are they trying to take credit for Caroline's job now? These people, they will stoop to lows, bro. That's why they just jealous. I don't care what you say. They just jealous. That was just nothing but shade. And on top of that, right now is not the time for that. We got people that lost their lives, and we trying to get to the bottom of it. DEI is a direct relation to this. Sunny Hostin, man, I'm glad she got put in her place. But Obama, really?